What's up everybody? This is Jam, and in this tutorial, I'm gonna be teaching you guys how to clean up your wrist rolls. I'm gonna be sharing 4 tips to get your wrist rolls looking clean and crisp. Check it out.
Jam, jam, here comes the man, hot damn.
All right, y'all, let's jump right in for tip number 1 to get your wrist rolls looking clean. And to me, this is the most important tip. You gotta keep your wrist loose, all right? So, what I'm doing right here is I'm flicking my wrist. This is what I call flicking your wrist, all right? You need to keep your wrist loose, otherwise you're gonna look extremely forced when you do your wrist roll, all right? So we're gonna start here, all right? As we pull it up, I'm gonna let my wrist hang, okay? And then I'm gonna use my body to pull it back, okay? This is where you get the flick, all right? So from here, I'm pulling it up, and I'm flicking it back, okay? So what you don't wanna do is you don't wanna force your wrist up while you're doing your wrist roll. You wanna keep it really loose so you can flick, okay? The goal here is for it to bounce. You want your wrist to bounce, okay? So I start here, I'm gonna pull up and I'm gonna let it bounce and come back, okay? This is step number 1. Bounce and back. Now, along with this, to control your hand, you are going to actually turn your wrist, okay? But there is a specific path that you take with your wrist, okay? So let me explain. When you're actually doing the wrist roll, if you want it to look clean, there is a swoop that happens with your wrist, okay? So I'm gonna go over it real quick. So the swoop is like this. I'm gonna turn it over here, and pull it up and back, okay? So when I flick, I have this weird like muscle man position that I'm flicking back and down, okay? So watch this path one more time. From here, we're gonna come up and roll back. Come back and down, all right? So what I'm doing is I'm making sure that when I roll, I have a full rotation of my wrist. Full rotation, like this, okay? Not like this. This is cutting it short, okay? When you do this, it does not look clean. Like this, okay? All right, guys, so moving on to tip number 2, and that's gonna be keeping your donut, okay? Or what I like to call your donut. So, a lot of people wrist roll like this, open, okay? And when you do it like this, it looks super sloppy because it looks really uncontrolled. Now, if you're doing it for a specific moment, that's cool, but in general, when you do your wrist rolls, you should always keep your fingers closed, okay? Now, there's different ways that you can hold it, and it's whatever is comfortable to you. Some people like to just hold like a circle, okay? Some like to hold like thumb over fingers, okay? I personally like to pretend like I'm holding a ticket. And so I keep my thumb on my pointing finger, and then I keep these fingers closed in. And sometimes I'll even hold more of a fist to make sure that I'm holding it, okay? So if you check out the difference, this is an open hand wrist roll, okay? Closed, all right? When you keep it closed, you have way more control and it looks just way cleaner. Tip number 3 for clean wrist rolls is rolling all the way up, all right? This is one of the more important points because it's a habit that you have to get into now. So when you're starting your wrist rolls, it's easy to get into the habit of rolling too low, like this, okay? If you want it clean, you have to roll all the way up by your head, okay? So what I'm doing is as I pull my wrist up, I'm kind of focusing on my elbows and where they're going here. So from here, we're gonna pull all the way up like this. And what helps is pulling your back muscles back like this. So when you wrist roll, it's almost as if you're crunching your back like this to hold it open, okay? The bigger you can make that, the more flex you can have in your back, the bigger your wrist roll will look. Right? Instead of looking small like this, okay? You open up all the way. So roll all the way up, right? All right, so if you guys are having a little bit of trouble feeling your flick and really getting the looseness in your wrist, what I suggest is you use one of these. And this is a lacrosse ball, all right? And if you're a dancer, you should have one of these already because this is a very, very helpful tool. So what I like about this ball is that there's weight in it. So when I hold it, I can feel, you can feel the weight in it, which helps you feel it in your wrist, right? So what I'll do with this ball is I'll just wrist roll with it in my hand, okay? Now, the ball is just to help you feel weight in your hand so that when you remove the ball, you understand what it feels like, or what your wrist should feel like as you're wrist rolling, okay? So I basically imagine that there's still a ball in my hand and I can feel the weight in it, which helps me clean up the wrist roll like this, all right? All right, so now I'm gonna show you guys a little drill that you guys can do at home to train your wrist rolls, all right? One thing I wanna mention is that to get clean wrist rolls, it takes a lot of practice, and it's literally just repetition. The more you do it, the better it's gonna look over time, right? You're gonna build the strength in your wrist, and you're also gonna develop a feel for your technique so that when you do it, it just comes out clean every time, okay? So this is a very easy drill, and you could do this with a ball or you could do it without the ball. If you're first starting out, I would suggest using a ball just so you can feel it. It helps a lot, and then you can get rid of it whenever you want. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start on the right hand and we're gonna be switching between right and left, okay? So I'm gonna break it down first and then I'll show you guys with the music, okay? So we're gonna go like this. We're gonna go 1, 2, okay? Or 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first one we're gonna hold, boom, and we're gonna stop here, all right? This part is to train your path with your wrist, to develop more strength in your arm, to stop and come down, okay? So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Now for the next 2 8 counts, now we're gonna do it full. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay? So the first part is to train your wrist and to get the strength here, stop and come down. The second part is to train your flick, and you wanna focus on bouncing it. Bounce and bounce, okay? So we're gonna do that with the right, then we're gonna do that with the left, then we're gonna do it with both, okay? Here we go. Guys, so there's your 4 tips to clean up your wrist rolls. If you guys learned something, if you guys enjoyed this video, please hit me with a like and drop a comment. Let me know what kind of videos you want to see in the future. And please send me a video on Instagram if you guys are doing these drills so that I can share it. I would love to see your guys' progress and how you guys are taking on the information. Shout out to the Drop Dance Studio for hosting this tutorial, and please subscribe to my channel so you guys can get updated whenever I drop a new tutorial, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!